Hello and welcome to A Conversation with Emmanuel Sims, where we dive deep into film, mental health, and community activism. I am Emmanuel Sims. I am a director, a producer, and the founder of Vivo Exposure, a production company that focuses on mental health in Black and Indigenous communities through film and television. Throughout this series, we'll be discussing intersections of mental health and the arts, exploring the power of storytelling to heal and inspire, and examining the ways of which we can use our platforms to affect positive change in our communities. As a mental health advocate and a creative, I believe that we all have the power to change the world around us. Through my work through film and television, I plan to shed light on the issues that we have in our communities and hope to inspire social justice and equality for all. So join me on this journey as we explore the power of storytelling to transform lives and make a difference in the world. Together, we can create a brighter and more inclusive future for us all. For me, I was inspired way before Good Grief was even thought of. So I started doing a master's program at the University of the District of Columbia. It was a dual master's in mental health and clinical rehabilitation counseling. And during that time, I think I've sought out the most mental health help that I could ever get because during the program, it's very important for counselors to go to counseling. So during that, I realized that I was very privileged to have access to these services. I realized that not everybody's gonna go to counseling. Not everybody's gonna, seek services. And when they do, sometimes it's already really, really bad or to the point where, medication and things like that can come into effect. And what I realized, it's just like a tooth, a rotten tooth. If you leave it too long, it can shut down your nerve systems. It can ruin your brain. It can do all types of different things like that. So it's the same with mental health. And I realized that if we were to treat things a lot sooner in our community by at least educating and teaching little techniques to us, to our people, that we will be able to actually prevent a lot of the extreme cases. And I say that because just me being aware that anxiety was real, I was able to go back to all of the times that I had a panic attack and said, oh yeah, I know why this was caused. I know what I could have did differently then, but I didn't have those tools now. So in Good Grief, I teach a grounding exercise. I went to film school after going to school for counseling. I said, okay, I'm not going to an office. I need to be able to teach in another different type of way. And I can tell stories visually. I wanted to be visual. So I went to film school, Full Sail. And during spring break, I said, it was like an itch that I had to scratch. I just needed to get this movie done. And I kind of felt like I betrayed the idea by making my thesis into a sci-fi film. And we'll talk about that later, the surprisingly interactive audio book. It's a sci-fi, it's the same as Good Grief, except it's a sci-fi. Same story, different genre. And I didn't really get the message across in that movie. The whole first screening was it was weird because my friends and classmates and colleagues and teachers were there, but it was dead silence, and I realized that the message wasn't clear. So I rushed to get Good Grief done in 2021 because I felt like I had to justify myself as an artist because I felt like I sold out for the VFX, you know what I mean? And I didn't really stick to my mission of teaching this grounding exercise. But I got lucky because during spring break, I was able to shoot this movie with some friends. We had a skeleton crew, literally whoever was available in Florida from film school, and we got together and we shot this movie. And it was important to tell this story because I wanted people to know how to do the grounding exercise. I wanted to teach how to bring ourselves back into the present moment. I wanted to educate what ruminating was. Watch this clip here. But for real, you should try grounding. You ever do that before?
What's that about?
Simple, man. It's the way you use your 5 senses to bring yourself back into reality. A lot of times we get lost in our head, and let me tell you this, ruminating thoughts hurt like hell.
Nah, man, you know black people don't be messing around with that meditation stuff.
It's not meditation. It's grounding. You don't even gotta close your eyes. If you don't trust me, at least trust yourself. So like I mentioned, I felt like I kind of sold out when it came to the surprisingly interactive audiobook. Although it was supposed to have the same sentiment, I didn't include the grounding exercise, which it was like, okay, it wasn't there. So when it came to Good Grief, which was the original story, before the surprisingly interactive audiobook came up, Good Grief was the original story, and the audiobook was originally in Good Grief. So in the original story, Omri would come home and he would be depressed, and he would throw his bag on the table, which would alert the audiobook. When the audiobook was to come on, then Demi would show up, which was the character that I played in the original. And once he showed up, he would guide him by just being there. Now, in this new remaster, you hear the intro of Mindful Manny, Emmanuel Sims, myself giving that audiobook introduction. You're listening to the audiobook, find yourself in a comfortable position. And in the first movie, we didn't kind of give that. It just showed him going through the ups and downs, the trauma of not having quality health insurance, which was giving him people who didn't really care or just looked at him as a number. Rather than trying to, be empathetic. They're like, hey, we'll get some more out the cage next week. And he's like, just he's already going through it. And it's like the people that's supposed to be helping him aren't helping. So it's like, I'm at the end, you know what I mean? And this is the true story based off my life. I was listening to audiobooks that saved my life. Shout out to Audible, let's do something. Because I was listening to audiobooks, and that's what was helping me dig my mind out of the rut. That on top of all the mental health learnings that I had, 63 credits in a master's program that I lost my mind at the end. I was seeking services. So when I say getting back into myself, getting back into my life, finding myself again, I really got to express how powerful the audiobooks was, but I kind of brought that vision back to life. That's what I wanted. It's crazy how it worked out, because I have an Audible with my different books that are available on Amazon under Emmanuel Sims. You can get audiobooks there. But I also have a mindful meditation that you can listen to on Spotify and iTunes. Yeah, just look up Mindful Manny's Mindful Meditation, and you can find that on Audible and Spotify. I put a link right here. So I used a little bit of that as, sync my own stuff, of course. And I have the audiobook there. And there's this one part at the end of the movie, and I know it's my movie, but it gets me every time. I get to crying, I get the tears, because I can relate. Right? I can relate to I can relate to Omri. And it was that moment when I knew I was enough, that I knew everything was gonna be okay. And I just wanted to tell a story that just showed how a man on the edge can overcome, even if he just used the tools that he has. And also, like I said, in the movie, I'm giving out the tools of grounding. So that's still there, but I really just wanted to add that audiobook piece, that missing piece that I felt real guilty for not putting it in there. The challenges that I faced producing Good Grief, besides the financial situation, of course, one of my friends from Florida gave me $300 and rented me an Airbnb. Besides all the students that were in film school at the time were on spring break, I had about 7, 8 amazing people come and help me bring the movie to life. My roommate played as Omri, John Blanks. We're roommates, and he lived across the hall. We fought daily sometimes, but we worked it out, and we became friends, and we not like fought like physical. We roommate battle, like wash the dishes, like stuff like that. But he helped me bring my vision to life, and it meant so much to me. Taylor, she helped me put just get organized. It was just having my friends there made the lack thereof better. Connor McDaniel was my first AD. Tiffany, Juliet, Maisha, I really appreciated her. She was so supportive. Like just having a team bring the dream together, like no matter what the hurdles were, I wanted to rush it to have it ready for a premiere at the Enzium, and it didn't even get screened. So I did I was like, I have impulse issues sometimes, and I'm working on it, but it's like I want to get things done when I want to get them done. And sometimes it's like, slow down and like take your time, and you can provide quality. And that's what I wanted to do with this director's cut. I wanted to really not just settle for completion, but get my complete vision across. So yes, in Vivo Exposure, we're focused on helping artists heal, helping the community heal by teaching them to critically think. That's our mission. We want to assist our community heal by teaching them how to critically think, by educating them or giving them these tools, basically breaking down mental health into conversational pieces so that everybody can benefit from it. So we create social media content in the form of TikToks, dance videos that are uplifting and motivating, and just inspiring people to be themselves and go all out and be them. We have a Triggered series that we're working on and we're raising money for. So if you're interested in becoming an executive producer, we have, and it's just for this year. Next year the price is going to multiply by 10, but you can get in now at $1,000 as an executive producer. Make that donation as soon as you can. Link in bio. You can make a $500 donation for associate producer. You can make a $250 donation for assistant producer. And if you're not ready to make those big donations yet, you can become a special thanks donor, and that's $50. So what we're doing is we're raising monies to shoot these projects. We have a lot of the equipment already, so it's not gonna cost us too much to get things done. And we have a very, very creative producer, myself. And yes, I know how to budget well. I don't budget to make money. I budget to put money in the film. And I know you're like, well, why is the movie gonna miss? My mission is to assist my community heal by teaching them to critically think. So if you can get with the mission and you can get with what I'm trying to do, let's work together. Let's help me help the community. I just know simple as that. Like some projects will make money, but majority of them is just educational content so that we can heal our community. And I think it's well needed, and I need your help because I can't do it without you. Yeah, so one of the stories that stick with me the most, really short, it's not gonna be a long story, is I cry every time I watch the end. And it's like not a funny story, but it's like, bro, you know what's gonna happen, and it gets me every single time. I know I mentioned it earlier, but it gets me every time because not only am I proud of the movie, I'm proud that I was alive to make the movie. Like, I remember trying to harm myself, and I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to be alive. And I had to really look at the scale and stop putting myself in that situation where I would test to see when I know that I didn't want. So just being able to see the movie come to life, and for me to be alive to see it, for me to be alive to make it, I never thought I would be able to do that. And it's probably not like a story, but like, that's where those tears come from. The tears come from, I really survived, and so can you. You know, when you're in those moments and you're like, And the panic is like so real. It's like you think that feeling nothing is better than feeling everything all at once. And it's like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's really okay to feel it, you know? And sometimes the feelings get overwhelming and you don't want to feel it. And it's like, it's okay to have grief. So I named the movie Good Grief because it's okay to grieve. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel. It's okay to not be okay. Just having things to push you on to the next day, that's the secret. The secret is having techniques that can get you over to the next day, because sometimes like that next day just really shows you that everything was going to be okay. And I'm just so grateful because everything, it was okay. And I thought it was the end. It felt like the end. It felt like nothing would feel better, but here I am. I want y'all to know it's gonna be okay. So yeah, just give me a second. That's a way to bring it back. Okay, good shift. Whoever's producing this is doing a really good job. I'd have to say that when I got to live in China, I really learned about innovation. When there's limits, there's innovation. And I think that's very powerful because in the film, there's always limits, but then, right, there's innovation, right? So when I was in China, I learned that there was a limit on cars. So one of the innovative things that I noticed that people would put motors on their shopping carts so that they can still get around and things like that. Sorry. And people can still get around and, you know, not have to just push the carts, but have a little motorized push with it. And I thought that was super innovative. I learned that in China, the way they keep their GDP up is that they keep the cycle flowing, basically. So if like they keep the carpenter building, they keep the masonry making the cements or however it works. I may be getting all of this stuff wrong because I honestly got a C in those courses. I started skipping school and being an entrepreneur while I was in China. So whoever came up with these questions, really good questions. But yes, no, I really did learn that as long as you keep the cycle going, as long as you keep oiling the well, as long as you keep working at it, everybody will be able to work. And in film, everybody has an opportunity to work. From pre-production, from idea to post-production and screening and wherever you go with your film, there's an opportunity for everybody in every skill, from sign language to artists who draw paper, to people who do paper mache, to people who style rooms, to people who make music, to people who just, you know, play music. Like there's so many opportunities for everybody in the industry to work together from every form of art and create this masterpiece. And the more that you work with, the more that you can add and invest into this creative piece. So that's what I learned when I was in China. It's like when there's limitations, just get innovative. When there's limitations, make innovations. I'm trying to make something round, but whatever. But it's like just keep working, keep redoing, keep the cycle going. And when there's limitations, have innovations. And that's how my Chinese history and economics play into my film director, because I'm innovative. It's gonna work out. That's a good twist off of the twist. Thank you, guys. There's a couple of trigger warnings, right? There's the whole Hinton Daily. There's dark humor. I wouldn't say that it appeals to a wide audience. Totally niche. People who've been through stuff. Some people find humor in healing. One of their techniques in counseling is humor. It's not like a technique, but it's like a skill that you can add in a session to make the session go well. It's like you don't got beating a stick up the butt. You can actually laugh and joke with your clients, and y'all can build rapport and help them get through what they're going through. So there's a lot of dark humor. There's a lot of edgy humor. I wouldn't say that I made it relatable to all audiences, but if you've ever been through something and you've ever been on that edge, I made it for you. And it's gonna be okay. And I love you. So when I first released it, I did get a lot of good feedback. Now there was a lot of, from my film students and film people, there was a lot of, hey man, you could've did this a little bit better. I'm like, yeah, it's a good movie, yeah, it could be done better, but how do I make it better? And I needed money. So thank you guys to all my donors. First of all, I want to say thank you to all my executive producers. Thank you to all my associate producers. Thank you to all my assistant producers. Thank you to all my special thanks guys. Thank you guys for sending me cash apps, Zelle, Vimos. Thank you everybody who donated to this slate through GoFundMe or bought popcorn. Whatever you guys have done, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I am not one of these people who are taking your money and putting it elsewhere. I am putting it straight into the films. And it means a lot to me to have your support, because now I can take the films to the level that I really wanted to take them. I don't have to settle with what I could do on my own. I'm a father, I have children, and it's hard. And I appreciate you guys for making it less hard. I'm doing the Bowfinger approach, $21.84, about $2,000 in each movie, and we're trying to put them out, and you guys have been a great help. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in our community. We really appreciate it. And to the Dripster community who are on our text blast, I love you guys so much. And if you haven't joined our community and you'd like to get on the text blast, just text me now, 240-607-5258. Now, if you want to become a donor, you can text movies to that same number, 240-607-5258. And then you'll get the links to all the opportunities to become a donor. But I just couldn't do it without you guys. And when people say that they really enjoyed it, and my aunt, my sales manager, my aunt, she's been calling. You guys probably heard from her, Aunt Gwen, aka Miss Gwen. She said she was going through some things when she watched it, but it helped her come to light. And it's like she tell me that every time we talk. I'm like, what is she saying? And she's giving me that feedback. She's saying that it did work, and that's proof, and that's the conversations that are being had, is that just give it a shot, and maybe something in you could be also lit. Absolutely. So after the 2023 Eudaimonia film slate is released, I am teaming up with Brandon T. Jackson as the Vice President of Development at KOE Studios. That's Kingdom Over Everything Studios. We have a release coming out called Trap City, where we star Young Jeezy and Clifton Powell, and I'm super excited about that movie. It's going to be airing really, really soon. We've been developing movies like Detroit City Cop and Fighting Back, which are going to both star Brandon T. Jackson and a bunch of different characters. I'm honored to be able to be a part of also the Hollywood and the high independent, but also, you know, the middle class independent, and still make visions and dreams come to life. So if you have an idea, maybe your movie can be the next movie that I help produce, because I'm sticking to my culture. I'm sticking to loving to give back. But that's the sneak peek. Yes, I am working with KOE Studios, and we got big things coming in store. But if you have a movie and you have a story that you want to tell, shoot me a text, 240-607-5258, and maybe I can bring your vision to life. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Sims, aka the Drip Headmaster himself. And if no one's told you they love you today, remember God loves you, and so do I. And to make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. Dribbity, dribbity.